are here. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Listen, fresh off the jet, sharper than Gillette, the best you can get. We are on the radar collectibles. Listen, it's been a long time coming. You know, we had the first one that we did. That was just a test run, but here we are. We here, damn it, and get ready for it. We got Ferd, Bird, the nerd. We got Trey. We got Vinny. We got RFlome, Ralph. Well, you want to be called RFlome or you want to be called Ralph? I don't know what you want to be called, baby.
I mean, whichever is easier. I guess everybody knows me as RFlome.
RFlome. And of course, me. You know what I'm saying? I'm the pimp daddy of the decade. You know what I'm saying? We out here, we finessing and jugging. We out here, we selling shit. Here we look. What you want? You want some of this? You can't even see it. You know why? Because I'm in the sanctuminium. It's okay, but we here. What we got, guys? How we doing today? We in here. Let's get to it. Y'all talk anytime. I'm done. I have it.
No, it just came up that the Rumble thing isn't working.
Yeah, it says the destination's not working or it's incorrect or something.
What? I can figure that out in a second if we need to.
I just want to say, just want to mention hearing Marcus do that live, totally different experience versus watching that on YouTube. 100% better.
In the moment, man, you don't know what the hell's about to happen.
You don't know what's gonna happen. And I got it for days, brother. You don't know what I'm gonna say. Next week is gonna be something else. You know what I'm saying? I may come through there speaking itchy gitchy, yeah. You don't know what I'm gonna do. But that's what I'm saying. But we in here. What we talking about today? Shit. I'm excited.
I think the first thing we got to talk about is we had two people in our group get extremely lucky this week and hit the fucking Tiffany Dunks.
Listen,
which
congratulations, Jesus!
I cannot believe it. Wade and Shell P both hit, and they're going. Retail was $400, and they've been going between $1,100 and $1,400 since the drop. And every time you look up, Jada Kiss is posted wearing them and everything else. And Wade asked me, he goes, do I sell them or do I wear them?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you noticed this or not, but Wade literally wore some $20,000 dunks. He had those what if dunks. I mean, he's had a couple pairs of shoes that are multi-$1,000, and he wears them. So
yeah, I don't
sell them.
I personally don't understand it. I mean, I'm not super big into sneaker culture, but I don't understand. It's like definitely like taking a car off the lot and it losing value. But man, like I see these cause shoes and like the Red Octobers that people wear, and I'm like, man, why on earth would you wear them when you could just flip them? But I don't know. I guess it's a fashion thing.
Status.
Look like.
Go ahead.
I mean, it's a Tiffany collab. The last Tiffany collab with the Dunks, the SB Dunks, those go for about $3,000, and these are about $1,000 right now, depending on what size they are. So I mean, you're doing good either way if you flip them or if you wear them. So
yeah, I think and it's kind of good that Tiffany did these, right? Like because I think Diamond Supply was kind of stealing their style and sort of putting these things out. Just trying to sort of mimic it with their signature blue. Yeah, with the signature blue. So, I mean, these look really cool. So I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wanted a pair, but I wouldn't wear them if I got it.
You know, it's crazy because I have the Sean Witherspoons. Those I have those. I have a pair of those, brand new, never worn, whatever. I feel like shoes like the Tiffany, Air Force Ones, those kind of shoes, you wrap them up in like 5 years from now, the shoe is just going to be an insane price. And that little $400 that you spent on it, or the little $1,400 that you can make right now, will pale in comparison to what, you can really sell them for like 2-3 years from now. That's just always my thought on shit like that. Like, it's money.
I think also some of them, when you have like fine artists jump in, it's almost like an art piece, like those Hebrew Brantley dunks that we got, and like the Cause ones, and there's kind of like a fine line between whether it's really a collectible or it's a piece of fashion. So
That's
Dude,
true.
what's great about it is, and this is honestly how Ralph and I, he joined OTR early on, and I'm one of those people. Anytime someone joins, I usually look at their profile, and Discord lets you know if you're in the same group or not. And the first thing I popped up was that he was in GFNF, which is honestly probably one of the top
Crazy.
tier. It's probably the top tier, one of the best cook groups. Honestly, can been
Yeah,
consistently. They've had their own bots and everything. And during the pandemic, I mean, their bot and Target and everything else. So when I saw that he was in GFNF, I was like, man, he actually knows what he's doing. And he's been helping on the vinyl and the shoe links for the last 2 months. And like I said, we've had a couple guys hit those Tiffany Dunks. He hit the black and white threes. What'd you hit?
The Air Jordan 1s, the
ones.
85s. Yeah, 85s.
The 85s. And then John Z hit the UNC 5s from a sneaker link on Saturday. So like I said, it's one of those cool things that we're kind of trying to highlight a little bit. You know, we all like comics and things like that, but OTR is going to be a little bit more diverse. We're going to talk about shoes. We're going to talk about vinyl. We're going to talk about anything that, you know, has some collectability and people are interested in. NFTs, bots, crypto, you know, things like that. And that's what's great about Ralph. He knows more about all those topics than the four of us combined. So I was excited to give him a chance to kind of show off a little bit. And
I mean, you're pretty well versed as well, Trey. You're in GFNF, so I mean, you kind of know what's up.
I do, but I just end up making fun of the comic book guy in GFNF. That's basically what I.
Those
they were
comic book
pumping
guys,
the.
servers. They don't know at all. They'll pump like the weirdest store variants. And you're like, what are you doing?
The comic man.
They were pumping the John Kent blue foil this afternoon.
Yeah.
This shit's gonna sit for 2 days, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's some interesting stuff. So look, so Trey, where are you right now?
Dude, I am in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm filming. I got cast as part of the Wire reboot. I'm playing McNulty's fucking illegitimate son that he had with a hooker.
I gotta finish that series.
You know, no, I had to go to Muncie, PA, and look at some stuff for work. And unfortunately, the closest airport was Harrisburg, and it would have been like a 9-hour flight with 2 different deals. So I ended up flying Southwest into Baltimore and then driving up and doing all that. But I am ready to get the fuck back home.
Absolutely, because ain't shit in Baltimore. I ain't gonna lie to you. Ain't shit in Baltimore. You know, I'm just gonna be honest with you. Ain't shit in Baltimore. Besides cold right now. It's cold in Baltimore.
They had a Chick-fil-A, they had a solid Chick-fil-A. I can't be mad. I hit some Books A Million and some Second Chance books on the way back, and I didn't find nothing.
What were you looking for, though, Trey?
I was looking for some vinyl. To be honest with you, I thought I found a All Eyes on Me first print still sealed, and I got so excited, and I found out that it wasn't. And they had a whole run of sealed Tupac vinyls at one of them. But it's also one of those things like, I don't know how the fuck I'd get it back. You know, I just took a carry-on and a backpack. And there's really no way for that vinyl, especially a good vinyl.
Without it coming back warped or something like that. Yeah.
Just, you know what I mean?
You just got to get one of those vinyl bags. I've done it. Like the bag that'll fit like 10 or 15 of them. You just need to buy one of those and just. I mean, I used to do it when I would do a lot of vinyl shopping, record shopping. I just put it in my suitcase and then put them in, and I just have another piece, and it could go right under the seat in the plane. So.
When I used to travel, when I was going to Pittsburgh and Canton all the time, I had what was called a mechanic's clipboard, and it was a hard shell red deal that you basically can put notes inside of it, but it would fit about 6 comics, and it would fit them tightly. So that's what I would do is I would take that, and I'd have some bubble wrap, and whatever books I have, I'd put it in that and keep it in my suitcase. And I never had any issues for 4 or 5 years. But
damn, yeah, I still travel with those BCW boxes wherever I go, just in case.
I got some of the OG Valspars. Did you ever get any of those?
No, I did get the BCW boxes though. The BCW boxes were, and those were the ones that you used to tell me to go get, Trey, back in the day. You were telling people, hey, if you were going to any kind of con or whatever, hit up, grab a comic book store, go hit the BCW. And the one that I got, it was the big magazine holder. Like they didn't even have those anymore. Like to find the magazine holder BCW joint, it was a task, but I found it. And
See, that's one thing. It took me a long time to realize that, though, is, when you go out of town, a lot of times you're not expecting to find something good. And then trying to get it back home safely was stressful. A lot of times you're like, do I ship it to myself? Or do I try to take it through TSA? Do I check it? And like I said, those BCW boxes were the best thing to do for that point in time, because you could keep a comic book snug in there if you took time. You know what I mean? If you put some filler in there and this and that, it was tough for those books to move around. And I used to see people at cons, they just buy books and they just fucking put them underneath their underarms and shit. And seriously, it's just like, golly, gives me anxiety.
I never understood that. Why, you buy an expensive ass book and then you put it up under your arm and let it get bent, get a tick in it or something. That's just, yeah. And then you got deodorant issues. You know what I'm saying? You can now the book is all wet. You know what I'm saying? You eating a hot dog, drop mustard on it, eating a glizzy. Mm-hmm. I think that's what they call it. You put mustard on it.
A glizzy. Yes.
Yeah, you're eating a glizzy and
Yeah, Trey. Yeah, I saw this. Y'all used to get so much shit about his. He was just throwing them in the backpack, right?
Poor Mel. Mel has come I'm so proud of Mel for how far he has come. But yes, he literally that first year in Baltimore, he had an old JanSport, and he'd buy something, he wouldn't even look at it. He just jamming like this.
That's awesome.
I remember Sean and I were just like, "What in the fuck are you doing?" Like, what do you mean, fam? What you mean, fam? I'm like, no.
Don't do it.
And now he's fucking grading books and getting 9.8s and all kinds of shit. So
he had
2,000 on his channel too, man. I'm proud of him. Like he said, he did it with no gimmicks, no bullshit. That's a lot of people for a comic book YouTube show. 2,000.
Did you see that? He said, Joseph said, I sold $100 card to someone before, and the guy just put it in his trifold wallet.
Oh my God. For his kid.
Dude, by the way,
Jesus.
We would not have OTR Discord if it's not for Joseph Yang. No bullshit. Like 5 years ago, he messaged me on Hangouts, just wildly talking. We were talking about pre-pandemic stuff, and we started talking about Discord. And he was like, "Yeah, my cousin is on some cook groups and this and that," and kind of got me into the whole Discord stuff at all. Joseph Yang, OG CBSI guy too. So
nice.
I was actually
Ultra
wondering
Maximus.
Wondering how you got into GFNF, Trey.
Dude,
because you were in it before I was.
Man, it was one of those ones where when the bots start going up, crazy, when Project Destroyer and Soul and all those were going for $5,000 or $6,000.
Yeah.
They were almost a commodity. You know what I mean? You saw what they were flipping for.
Right.
And everyone was talking about KSR and Target because that was the only way to get some of the mega boxes, the Bowman mega boxes, the Prism. And they had this in-house bot called KSR, and it was literally God tier bot. If you had the right proxies and you had your settings right, you hit on this bot. And I wanted to get in that preview, that beta. Yeah. And I paid $350 for the invite, GFNF, and it took me about a month. And they had a beta, and I hit one of the beta slots to get into KSR, and been in it since.
That's the exact same reason I joined GFNF was KSR to hit the Bowman Megas.
Yep.
Was that 2020 or what year?
2020.
2020, yeah. 2020.
Oh wow.
Pandemic. Dominguez.
That was like everybody was going after those that year.
Yeah. Yep.
Now watch this. Speaking of beta, let's jump over to some NFT news. Amazon NFT marketplace rumored to launch next month. So, following the rumors that began to circulate in January and various partnerships and investments with names like Avalanche, Chainlink, and Superplastic, Amazon is launching an NFT marketplace as soon as April 24th. following rumors that have, of course, been going on since January. The marketplace will be either called Amazon NFT Marketplace or Amazon Digital Marketplace. And it's said to feature, watch this, 15 initial NFT collections available for purchase through the user's Amazon account, and credit card. So you can either do it with your Amazon account or you can buy the NFT with a credit card. So no more having to go switch your Coinbase, get some ETH, move the ETH over to the MetaMask, and then try to do all that. This is a game changer. I do want to put out here that, me and Vinny have been talking. There are some people that we do know for sure are going to really jump down on this Amazon piece. And I think that it's going to change the landscape for NFTs. And I did something earlier in a group chat that we're in. I did a by the numbers thing, and I put it in the group chat with me and Vinny and a couple other people. And what I did was I showed them that Amazon by itself, that company revenued over $519 billion in 2022. Let me see. OpenSea did 37 billion or something like that. Coinbase did 13. Blur did 1.3. So I'm putting those numbers out there to kind of show you how big this Amazon NFT marketplace is really about to be, and how they're really about to normalize NFTs and just the whole 9 and 10. Those companies that are with them first, I know one company for sure is a company called Super Plastic. So if you were familiar with Kid Robot, Super Plastic has already announced that they're part of the partnership with this Amazon NFT digital marketplace, and they already got funding to do a TV show with their characters Janky and is it Googieman, Vinny? I think that's the name, the Janky and Googieman show.
Yeah, but they made a new character. They made a new character that they made like a web comic of, and I have a feeling that Kid Super Plastic. So I have a feeling that that's going to be kind of big in their whole new movement of what's going on. I should probably mention that Super Plastic, of course, they started out as a designer toy company, but they jumped into NFTs pretty heavy over the last few years. So, I think they probably had 3 or 4 different NFT lines that they've done. They did one collaboration with Gucci. They actually did the official Bored Ape Yacht Club designer toys. And if you had particular NFTs, that would help you get certain variations of the toy. So, they're in it pretty heavy. So I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of really cool stuff coming.
A lot of cool stuff coming. And I also want to say this too. Again, the mere fact that you'll be able to buy this with your credit card, I think that's half the issue that has been for people, having to go set up a MetaMask wallet, having to go do this, having to go do that. You could do it all on your Amazon piece. So you go buy your groceries and then you buy an NFT all in the same space. You buy your dog food and buy a Dookie Dash. It's going to happen. It's really going to happen, and it's going to move relatively quick. Hey, what's up, Bronze Age Nerd? I will say to you, whatever NFT you like, start researching, seeing if they're dropping breadcrumbs to say that they're going to be partnering with Amazon, because they're going to let you know. They can't fully come out and say it, but I would just start doing some research. DYOR, not financial advice, but I am telling you it's coming, and it's going to change the landscape of what you think NFTs is going to be.
I think, and it's hard to speculate really on which projects are going to come in out the gate, but I think, we went over some NFTs probably about a month ago, just kind of like blue chips and kind of upcoming blue chips, things that are 1 ETH and below that are super popular. Those are the types of things I'd probably just start thinking about it, whether they jump onto this Amazon platform or not. I think it's just stuff to be thinking about regardless, but there's probably going to be some moves being made once you see some of the familiar faces and names on Amazon.
Let me ask you this. This may be a stupid question because, like I said, I got my toes in it a little bit. Will I be able to transfer things from my MetaMask wallet to the Amazon wallet and vice versa?
Probably.
Probably so, but I think more so what Amazon is going to do is create its own wallet that's going to be easier for you to just keep it all in your own thing. And and as it develops and gets bigger, you'll probably see them try to go after MetaMask and say, hey, whatever you have in MetaMask, move over to the Amazon digital marketplace. You'll probably see a lot of that. But I think the main thing right now is like the 15 that got it are literally going to change the game. I mean, I'm literally going to change the game. So I'm super excited about that.
Let me ask you this. Is there any bots currently working on Amazon?
You mean to mint new NFTs?
Not necessarily. I mean, just still able to get through the flow process, the checkout process.
There are bots. Yeah, there definitely are bots that can mint a project before you or I on the computer trying to mint it ourselves. I just don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure Amazon is going to go, all out to block bots, but bots always somehow figure it out. They might shut it down somewhere, but somebody figures it out, codes it, and is able to mint it. So I have no doubts that there will be bots.
Interesting.
This is a good question right here, because I'm curious as well. What kind of utility can and will Amazon give you for holding the NFT? I would assume a lot, because they want you to buy stuff. I mean, that's all Amazon does, man. That's what the dude's been trying to do since like the 90s.
So I don't know if you want to hit that, Vinny, or you want me to hit it.
No, you go for it.
Okay, so the best way, in my personal opinion, to answer that question is let's just wait until Amazon brings out more information about what they're getting ready to do. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. About what they're getting ready to do, simply because it's going to have all that information in there. What kind of utility you will for holding the NFT, the kind of process that you're going to have with the NFT process, with the minting process, what all comes with, the accessibility of being a day one holder of the Amazon NFTs. From my understanding, and this is just us talking to like some insider people kind of thing, right? There'll be people, the 15 that are there. Some, if you have the Genesis collection, there'll be benefits from having the Genesis collection that bleeds over to the Amazon marketplace. Outside of just buying some that you'll already have on the Amazon marketplace, outside of Amazon making it natural for people to just buy NFTs and buy your groceries all at the same time. Is it too far-fetched to believe that Amazon will have an NFT period that can get you into the grocery store digitally earlier? Is it too far-fetched for Amazon to say, okay, if you have a Bored Ape, then Bored Ape is doing this collab with Gucci, so now you can get into the Gucci site 30 minutes before just by having the Amazon, whatever the situation is. This is what they're doing. They're going to have a motion picture piece to it, toys, anything that you're trying to possibly think of that Amazon is getting into. That's what they're trying to jump into. They're jumping into blockchain fully. I said this in a text message earlier this morning. Vinny is laughing, but it's telling the truth. I told Vinny, I said, hey, Bezos ain't stepping in this shit to fuck around. Period. He ain't stepping in the NFT space to fuck around. He's coming full-fledged to make it all make sense. Wow, how much money can Vinny get us to invest in a single show? What?
No, like you meant, like Vinny always has good spec. That's what he means. Like Vinny comes on here and drops some shit about video games or whatever. And everything. Like last week, he talked about that Jason Dominguez AA ticket.
Yeah.
He talked about it live on air. And if you guys go back and look, I literally immediately put my head down and don't look up for about 2 minutes because I fucking bought that last
I saw that, dude. I knew you were buying it. That's cool though. That's good.
But he's right. That's Vinny. Vinny has some sneaky good shit, and he doesn't tell you about it until he gets it to his house.
I got some tickets coming too, by the way, guys. So I'll walk through those once. I should be able to pick them up like in a week or so. So we can go through some cool stuff. But
it's all the same. Go ahead, V.
But no, I was gonna say, jumping back to the NFT conversation, something that people may or may not know, but there has been a shift in that whole Web3 space to label NFTs as digital collectibles now. I mean, they're trying to make it more kind of friendly to consumers, and not where it's so confusing where people are like, what's an NFT? Like, what is this thing? Like that way it's a little bit more relatable. So there's definitely that whole shift happening in the Web3 space. So
it's so smart. That's the thing is crypto's so volatile right now. You know what I mean? You go and buy some ETH and then the next day you could lose, $90. I mean, I think that's Marcus said it best. Some of the older people like that, that's too much for them. So being able to use stable currency such as credit cards and things like that through Amazon, I think is going to bring a whole new group of people to NFTs. Like you can joke about it and some people are going to roll their eyes on it, and Vinny and I discussed this, those Donald Trump NFTs brought a completely new, different group to the NFT platform. They did. Bro, so the more and more people that have wallets and the more people that are into NFTs is a good thing, because it's kind of like cell phones and your grandparents. You got to let them know they ain't going anywhere. They're not going back to rotary phones. This is the way things are going to go going in the future. And I think people, are hesitant to jump into NFTs because of that, but they're the future. I mean, Vinny talks about them all the time, like that V friend. He's going to be able to get in and do a bunch of cool shit because he has a V-Friend NFT. The concerts, the entries, and this and that. And from what it sounds like, Gary Vee is going to continually have that be the flagship and have cool stuff come from it. So more and more stuff like that happens is a good thing.
Yeah, right. And just really quickly, while Trey's on the subject of that, I did mention this in the Discord, but at the end of VCon last year, Snoop Dogg and Gary Vee got up on stage and they said that there's going to be something that happens for 2022 VCon ticket holders. And right there on the spot, I went on OpenSea trying to buy one, and it jumped from like $200 to like $1,000 right there. And it died down now. Right now it's back to like about $300. So I didn't forget about that, but I think there's still something coming. So it might be a good buy. I did mention that. So I actually grabbed one.
Did you buy yours already? Because you didn't tell me that you bought it. And so
I did, Marcus. Every time I tell you, I literally say I'm buying it right now.
I'm just out here, and you're not equipping me with the tools to be great, bro.
I'm gonna send receipts from now on. I'm gonna take like little screenshots. Ferd, what's up?
You have my number too, man. So
I put it in the Discord. I said I'm literally no. In fact, I said I bought one. I just bought one.
He did. He actually did. I want to give Vinny shit too, but he 100% did. During the podcast, he said, "Yeah, I just bought one at the very end."
Trey, I love you. Nobody's listening to you in this moment. Vinny is lying. Vinny did not tell nobody about this shit. And see, if you try to go right now and get it, it's probably like $500-$600.
It went up a little bit, but not too much.
You know why? Because it went up after you said something.
I can move markets. I like it.
Hey, Marcus, I'm honestly, I'm throwing this up. What are the back cows doing? Have you paid any attention to the back cows recently?
Man, listen, them back, yeah. So I'm all over the back cows, man. So they're dropping. They just airdropped a couple of things recently over the past like month or so. I don't follow it as much as I should, because right now what I'm doing, I'm just grabbing the books. But like for instance, I got the Harley Quinn. Because I'm a back cow holder, I was able to get in early, and I got the legendary Harley Quinn BA12, the one that was done by Art Germ. So I got my hands on that one. I got my hands on the death of Robin. I caught that one. I got a rare one. I got a rare with that one. And all of these,
they just dropped Showcase 5 as well, right?
Yeah, they just dropped Showcase 5. I didn't get that. I'm trying to keep everything kind of like Batman related, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't grab, Showcase 5, unfortunately. But, all the other shit, I'm all over it. You know what I'm saying? Anytime Joker, anything, along that line, it's up.
Oh.
Yeah. They're doing, back cows are doing great. I mean, and they're dropping, they dropped a map. They just dropped a map recently. And remember, every 52 days, if you have a back cow, every 52 days, they add something to the actual cow in and of itself. It like develops. It's pretty cool.
I still want one. I know I say it every time we talk about it, but I want.
Where do you buy them? OpenSea or where can you get them?
No,
You
it's
got to
a
go
DDC
Easy
NFT.
marketplace, right?
Yeah, NFT.dcuniverse.com.
Yeah, I completely.
NFT.dcuniverse.com. Go ahead, Ralph.
I thought that wasn't gonna do well at all. So that's one that I completely missed. And that's kind of how it works. You kind of think, oh, who's gonna want the back cal? But then they add the
Yeah.
utility, and that's when everybody starts to buy them up or want them.
Yeah,
They had some weird
Oh,
NFTs trending this week, like the owls and the cats and
I
the
saw that. Yep.
some weird stuff. I would never.
Well, as I was speaking to my good friend Jim Lee, it's my good friend Jim Lee. As I was speaking to him, when I was in LA recently, and we had a chance to go to breakfast, and I was just asking him about the back house. Here's what he was saying, which made a whole lot of sense, and this is some alpha right here for you guys.
Cool.
He was basically look at that. Look, so come on, you can get one. 450.
Oh, you want me to scroll back up? Or I'll scroll back up. Sorry, I was searching
$4.99.
myself. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah. Look at this. 445, 449, 450, 649.
So how do you know what utility it gives you? Like, is it like
when you click on it, the traits will tell you. You click on the traits, scroll down, and it'll tell you the traits. Keep going. Traits and rarity. Keep going.
There.
Right there.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Yeah. So Jim was saying, and this makes a whole lot of sense. He was like, the day is coming that they're getting ready to drop, the first Detective Comics, with Batman, they're getting ready to drop, the all of the like the first Action Comics. I think they already did like Superman #1 or whatever, and that was the thing. But like they know that they can drop the big ones and get a result, but now they're trying to figure out how do they keep the momentum going. Like like I was telling him, like when they dropped the Flash trailer, that's when they should have dropped the Flash, NFT on NFT DC Universe. If you run it alongside each other, that's when you're going to get the result, because that Flash trailer dropped, everybody was looking for something to go get. So now if you go and lock in and say, okay, I'm going to drop this NFT, and only way you can get it, the back how or you get in there early is what it is. So it's going to start seeing a lot more.
So these comics too. Sorry, go ahead, Trey.
No, go.
So the comics that they're dropping, those are getting botted as well. So I don't know if you recall, Marcus, when I dropped those bypass links. So those are bypassing the queue entirely, and you're just going right in there and buying them up. So those are definitely.
Oh no, I missed that. Hey, listen, hey.
listen.
That was for the Harley drop, the Harley Quinn drop. I dropped those bypass links.
Hey man, me and you gonna talk offline, dog.
I told you, Ralph ain't fucking around. Like literally, Ralph has made the Discord what it is. Honest to God, like I'm an idiot. All the cool stuff we have is thanks to Ralph in the last month. No bullshit. He's fucking good at this stuff.
The comics that we missed on was the first drop, that Superman #1. Those are going for crazy thousands. Money. The commons are going for thousands.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. So the only one that I'm waiting on now is that first Detective Comics. Because he said that is coming this year. That Detective Comics is coming this year. And that's going to be insane.
Vive really needs to hop on this Amazon thing. I think that would help benefit. That would benefit them the most, in my opinion.
Well, Vivi, and this is some alpha as well. And for people that don't know, some people do know already. Vivi is getting ready to roll out the Pokemon stuff later on this year. So that's what's going. See, right now they're in a downtime. So what I would tell anybody is like all the shit that you could possibly get, try to get it as cheap as you can, like the McFarlanes, or the Superman. That little Superman. It's a Superman that they have that's really rare because they only got one like actual Superman. It's kind of like in a weird pose. Like that, I would grab that. I would grab any Powerpuff Girls. That's the early Vivi. If you grab any Powerpuff Girls, if you can find that damn unicorn, that's the one. You know what I'm saying? Mojo Jojo, that's another one. Like, like if you can find those things, that's where the win is. I jump on some of that early Vivi while it's down. Seriously.
I mean, if you check right now, I think the first Captain America, even though it's kind of a cartoony looking first appearance, those are going for like $16. and it's the first appearance of Captain America on the blockchain.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
and see, and the Superman on VV is the first appearance of Superman on the blockchain.
Exactly. Yep.
Before the comic, it was the Superman on VV.
I've talked about this a little bit before, but those commons and uncommons and rares and ultra rares that are they're sitting there dirt fucking cheap on Vive. I mean, it's unbelievable how cheap some of them are. And I think once they go to a bigger platform with a little bit a different marketplace, I think it's going to blow up. I mean, Marcus has talked about it for a long time too. But once they get more visible, the NFTs, you know, everyone's like, oh, no. Dude, when you buy a Vive comic book, it's a digital comic that you can flip the pages and read. It's actually a really cool thing. And some of those ultra and secret rare covers are just different. I mean, it's the only way you can get them. I mean, there's some interesting art.
Yeah, so, I think the one issue with VV is that, you know, Web3 and NFTs is all about being decentralized. And they have that centralized app. So you can't really take anything outside of the app. And that's what a lot of people are kind of, exactly, right now. But if they got on Amazon, for instance, game changer.
Yeah.
And the Amazons, I mean, they have the reputation for collaborating with other companies like all the time.
Well, again, this is what I mean. This is what I mean when I say Bezos is not here to fuck around, bro. He's known for cannibalizing in a good way, you know what I'm saying? These situations, like, you know, oh, VV, you don't know what you're doing here. Let me give you let me show you how to do it over here. Come, you know, optimize your shit with me. And now it's VV/Amazon. And then it's game changing all over again. And now VV back in the game.
And some of those companies, I mean, like that's kind of their, I wouldn't say end game, but they're like, I mean, what company wouldn't be like, man, I wish I could partner with Amazon to go from 500 million to $1 billion in sales, you know? So it's everybody wins in that kind of situation. So,
and again, I say getting with Amazon, you got to think about it. They have a toy manufacturer, so toys can be created. They have a movie studio, movies can be created. They have merch where, you know, you can get your merch out. Merch can be created and shipped, and all of that shit can happen all in the same house. That's what I mean when I say you really got to understand what I'm saying when I'm saying that Bezos is not here to fuck around. Like, he is trying to really tap into a thing while everybody else is running this way. He's going to go the other way and say, you know what, let's go do this.
You know, and he's about to win. Speaking of Pokemon, that's something I really want to. I really going to start leaning into that and trying to learn more about Pokemon, because some of the bigger flips going on right now are in those VMAX alt cards and some of the, I just don't know enough about it. And I feel stupid. And I know Joe C and a couple other people, but if you know, it's like Wade is in the Magic the Gathering, and I didn't know a whole lot about it.
Yeah,
but he's been killing it on this Magic stuff. And it's kind of cool to see, because multiple people are starting to play again because of some of the conversations that they've had in the Magic part of the Discord. And I told myself that I want to learn more about Pokemon, because I know it sounds weird coming from a 43-year-old, but I saw that article about that NFL player that retired and is just selling Pokemon cards now. He made $4 million in his first year in selling Pokemon cards. Quit the NFL because he was making so much money selling Pokemon cards.
So here's what you have to look at. And I'm gonna bring this back to Miles Morales, because I was dealing with Ultra Maximus in the Discord, and he was, you know, arguing with me about, you know, Miles Morales and you know, Peter Parker versus Miles, you know, whatever the case may be. And I was talking to a comic book person the other day, and he said something. He said, I had a store worker, which is funny. I had an employee, right? My employee saw Hal Jordan Green Lantern, right? And said, what Green Lantern is this? I don't know this Green Lantern. And he was like, well, which one do you know? Well, I know John Stewart. That's my Green Lantern. That's the one that I grew up with watching XYZ. So the conversation was, anybody 25 and under is looking at Miles Morales as Spider-Man, right? We grew up with Peter Parker. They know Miles Morales, right? Here's my point. Pokemon cards. Anybody, let's say 30 and under, you show up with a Pokemon deck, you know what I'm saying? To the 40-year-old and over, is where we just missed Pokemon, but we're collectors. We are, so we can catch it and say, oh shit, I need to learn more about this Pokemon shit because it's some next level shit. But the ones that are 30 and under are looking at it, and this is what they know. This is their life. So a Charizard, I remember someone. I think Trey, you was telling me like
Rayquaza?
Charizard. Yeah, Rayquaza is like the new Charizard. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can ask these kids now about any anime. Like I went to the comic book store the other day, and look, they're going Ultraman. I knew he was gonna pop up. Look, so I went to the comic book store the other day. They literally told me One Piece is taking over. Not necessarily taking over Pokemon, but the One Piece TCGs. Like, if you get a Luffy, the pre-release Luffy with the winner on it or whatever, that's like big money. That's their Charizard. That's what they're holding on to. So I'm saying all that to say, bro, any age right now, Pokemon has just made it past the test of time. It's been here for 20 plus years, 25 years at this point. And
it's amazing.
It's an amazing ride, and it's not going away no time soon. So to learn it and really own it makes you ahead of the curve. Only person that can beat you is the Pokemon King, that old dude that has all this, that's worth millions of dollars with all the Pokemon cards that goes to all the collecticons. I can't think of his name.
When you get like that guy, right, and you just have like a shit ton of cards, do you just slab them all and you bring the slabs and put down the slab when you're playing? I don't even understand how that works.
No, I think I think he has his regular cards, but I don't think you're pulling out a first edition Charizard that's worth $20,000 and put that down on the on the joint.
I just didn't know how it works.
Yeah, I think you just have a regular, you got your regular shit that you play, and then you got the other shit. You know what I'm saying? So
Marcus, you brought up something interesting about our age, and there was a couple articles this week that were put in the Discord about comic book people aging out.
Yeah,
and you know what? I read it and didn't really think much about it, and then the next day I couldn't stop thinking about it. Mm-hmm. We got almost 400 members in our Discord, and I don't think there's many people under 25. And then you go look around in the comic book industry, especially the comic book industry, there is not a lot of young people. They are all people our age. And then Vinny and I had a conversation about, we were talking about action figures, and in the same relative terms, do you think people are going to care about the G.I. Joes and the Transformers and the shit that we collected in 20 years?
Nope.
Is it time to start getting rid of some of the stuff that we think are going? I think you're right. It sucks.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you something else. And you can finish this. I'm sorry. I have an old. Oh no! Watch this. This is crazy. I have an old Happy Days 1954 Happy Days board game by Milton Bradley. And it's graded, mind you. And I have an old Family Feud, first edition Family Feud board game, graded 8.5. I don't even know how I got this shit, but I got it. It's Family Feud, Happy Days, board games. Board games ain't even a thing anymore, y'all. Think about it. Well, what families are getting together playing Monopoly? I'm not saying they don't. Okay, Ferd, you're weird. I'm saying outside of Ferd, how many families get it? You know what families are playing? Left, right, center. They're playing, like spades and other than they're not
they're playing that. What's that? What's that raunchy card game? Cards Against Humanity. I've seen more people play Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are like, I guess I'm not trying to, this isn't like a family thing that people get together and stuff, but I know there's like bars that have tabletop games and board games that people go on like group dates on. And there's that kind of thing that was kind of hitting it like post pandemic when everything was opening up and pre pandemic. And it's kind of an interesting thing because like you have these huge bars, right? So you have to have a huge amount of square space, but you like a regular board game takes like 4 hours to complete. So you have customers there and in this environment that everyone can kind of play. So the restaurants loved it because it was like their spaces were filled, people having drinks, eating, all that stuff. So I feel like it kind of had a renaissance a couple years ago. It's kind of stayed consistent because I've had people ask me if they wanted to, oh, we're going to this bar to play board games. It's packed on Saturday nights. I was like, what? That's kind of weird, but I don't know. Collects wise, though, it's kind of tough.
It's just, I just don't see young people collecting the way that we collect. I mean, we've talked about it. Kids aren't going into comic book stores and buying comics. They're not. Everyone wants to pretend like they are, but that's not what's happening. You can go to the comic book stores, you go to comic book conventions, anything related to comic book, and every one of the people there are going to be 35 to 60. Yeah. The young people there are cosplaying, but I've said this for a long time. They don't spend money. Cosplayers just fucking get in the way and hit you in the head with fucking swords while they're trying to take pictures and shit like that. They absolutely do nothing for the comic book community. They don't. They fucking seriously, they clog up the lanes and take pictures and try to get attention, but they don't buy comics. They're just there for attention. And I'm worried. I'm worried because the stuff that we have right now we think is going to be valuable, I don't think the kids are going to feel that way in 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, I think you have to stick with properties that are just constantly have new media coming. Maybe G.I. Joe. I don't really know if there's like a good movie or show right now. I don't think so. Transformers can probably last for some time. The comic properties, the big properties that are out right now, people will probably, when they're older, they'll probably go back and maybe look for some of these first appearances, but not every little character that's out, like not every first appearance. And, Star Wars is constantly coming out with something new. That'll probably be around. So I think you have to think about properties that are still around, still alive, and that they're constantly doing new things with. Otherwise, think about like Care Bears and stuff like, Pound Puppies.
I swear to God, I was just about to say that, V. You took the words right out of my mouth. I'm like, who's looking for the first appearance of Woody Woodpecker right now? Who's looking for the first appearance of Strawberry Shortcake right now? Rainbow Bright. I could keep going down this list. I'll even say Popeye, and Popeye is an iconic character, but what my 12-year-old son is not running in here talking about, let me go watch an episode of Popeye. You see what I'm saying? So it's like,
speaking of action figures,
go ahead.
We got the God in here we got the God of action figures with 78 points of articulation in here. Seriously, I don't know. That guy changes the game with some of his.
Bro, I'm such a fan of his stuff, bro.
Yeah, how long does that stuff take?
Yeah.
We need to get, 78 points next week or one of these upcoming weeks. If you have some time, if you'd like to jump on with us, we'd love to talk to you and maybe answer some of these questions because you've been down with us since day one. And every single time you put up one of your dioramas, people freak out about it and ask. I'd love to ask a little bit more and pick your brain about where you think action figures and stuff are going to be heading. So.
Yeah. I do want to say this, right? If we're talking about the reality of, us aging out, right? And then I'm done. We can move on to the next thing. We're talking about the reality of us aging out. Let's look at the things that really make sense, right? So like our grandparents, the ones who were smart enough. Oh, okay, I'm reading the chats. I'm sorry. So the ones that were smart enough, they grabbed the Action Comics, number one, because they read comic books and they held on to it. And, or the Batman, detective, comics, or that first Wonder Woman, things of that nature, right? The big ones, I think, are the ones that will stand the test of time. It's the small micro that's getting consumed at a breakneck rate. Like Tom and Jerry, you don't really see Tom and Jerry, nor do you see anybody asking for the first appearance of Tom and Jerry. But that is a book that if you have it, it's good money, right? First appearance of Tom and Jerry, I think is good money, I want to say. You know, any of that, you know, what's the guy that did all the Disney stuff? Carl Banks,
right? Banks.
Yeah, Carl Banks, whatever his name is. See, to the generation before us, that was a big deal having his work, right? But these kids, my son don't give a shit about that. You know, when my son is on his anime, you show him a first appearance of One Punch Man, that's, I think, is what's going to be popular and have staying power 10, 15 years from now. One Punch Man, One Piece, you know, Dragon Ball Z, of course. Any of those things.
See, that's where I see more kids with Goku and Vegeta t-shirts than I do Superman, 10-1 when I go out. And here's the thing about Dragon Ball. It's all races that like it. All races. You know what I mean? You see that. You see like De'Aaron Fox, the NBA player, having, you know, custom sneakers done. You don't see that. And I talked about this a long time ago about Fantastic Four. I think they're irrelevant and are going to be irrelevant because that's the dynamic of that family hokey superhero team was cool in the 60s and 70s and the 80s. But it was kind of like how in the WWE and the WWF in the 90s, when the bad guys became the popular guys, the Stone Colds, the NWO, the heels, the bad guys became the anti-heroes, Deadpool, things like that. I don't think Superman's ever going to – I actually think Detective 27 is going to pass Action Comics in the next 10 years as being the blue chip DC book. Because Batman's selling – here's the thing. Batman, look at the movie properties. Always do well. Look at the comic books on Comic-Con and Diamond. Superman's not there anymore. They're trying to bring him back in, but I don't think Superman will ever be as relevant as he was in, you know, the past 50 years. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Just means there has to be somebody that's going to have to step up and take that place in the property. But it's just I don't see people, you know, people aren't excited about Reed Richards. They're just not. They may fake like they are, but they're not going to buying Fantastic Four comic books. Go look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. People aren't buying those books. So if they're not buying the books, they're not going to go watch the movie, which has been proven. So where's Marvel going to go? They got to, yeah. I don't know. I'm nervous. I think a lot of the stuff that I have that I think was going to be, that I thought was going to be valuable 20 years down the road, I think I'm gravely mistaken on about 3/4 of it. I really do.
But you know what I would do? I would sell all that shit and buy NFTs right now. That's not no bullshit. Like
I thought about it. I definitely talked about it.
Yeah, we've talked about it on several different occasions. Like I'm dead ass. I have 3 AF-15s, three. I'm literally talking about selling 2 of them. Keep one, sell 2 of them because I have one for each of my children. Sell 2 of them. Go out and buy some high level either NFTs or something of substantial value, right? Something newer, right? Because something that's going to grow with them. Compare this to AF-15, which is never going to go down in price. I mean, it's a blue chip book, you know, so is X-Men and, you know, and all this other shit. But I'm thinking like, is Spider-Man really going to be Spider-Man? I mean, he's Spider-Man to us. That AF-15 ain't never going down. Superman is still $1 million book. But to your point, Detective Comics is coming. It's going to trump it in a minute. You'll Mark, still be able to go ahead.
You should sell your AF-15 and buy an ultra rare VV AF-15. That'd be tight. I don't know what just happened.
I would actually.
I disappeared on your ass. Don't tell me no stupid shit like that.
Marcus, to diversify, would you buy like NFT? I agree too. I've been thinking like since I just listened to you guys talk essentially. And we kind of at the beginning of this conversation, Trey, you're talking about Pokemon. Would you say buying like a PSA 9, 10 Charizard first edition foil, wouldn't that be? Because like when I was 17 years old, I worked at Toys R Us and like first edition Pokemon packs came out. And so that was my introduction to Pokemon. I was like, these are the dumbest freaking things ever. And then, you know, sold out every weekend, 10, 15 years go by. And then the reconnaissance of Pokemon. And now, like, I'm looking at Pokemon stuff just like we are because, it's interesting stuff. 30-year-olds are trying to relive their teen years or whatever. And now my niece and nephews, all they want is Pokemon. So when you talk about longevity, I feel like Pokemon's like a good bet if you're gonna sell an AF-15, right?
But here's where I'm gonna be pissed at you, Ferd, and this is important. And Trey and me and Trey talked about this before. When I was a kid, Transformers was my thing. Transformers was always selling out at any point in time. You go to a store after after Transformers kind of died down a little bit, you could go buy Optimus Prime, freaking $20, brand new in the box, Generation 1. It was what it was because nobody gave a shit, right? We have to start. What I've taught my son is to start looking at trends, right? What's popular now is going to die down. When it dies down, buy all that shit up because 10, 15 years from now, when you're older, you don't know what's going to make a comeback, but it's all going to make a comeback. You go back now, look at what a G1 Optimus Prime is selling for. Imagine a G1 Optimus Prime. Look at what a Nintendo, Super Nintendo in the box is selling for. You couldn't have told me when I was a teenager that a Super Nintendo that my mom bought for $99 at Dillard's, of all places, Dillard's, where you buy clothes, she bought a Super Nintendo. They were selling a Super Nintendo at Dillard's for $99. If it was brand new, if I never took it out the box and just graded it now, 20 years later, that shit would be worth all kind of money. You just couldn't tell me.
I gotta tell you how my dad, I wanted a Super Nintendo bad, like every kid at that age. My dad was like, if you make the basketball team in 8th grade, I'll get you one. And I swear to God, I've never had that kind of pressure in my life. I easily made the team, but I just remember thinking if I didn't, I was not going to get a fucking Super Nintendo. I was out dribbling my ass off the week before that. And he said if I started, he'd throw in Street Fighter 2, which was
damn.
at the time. Wow. So yeah,
with the poster.
So you can understand. And everybody that's watching or whatever, you can understand, the disgust that you should have as a 30, 40 plus year old man when you go out on eBay and see Street Fighter brand new, unopened, because somebody was smart enough to hold it and go grade it. And now that shit is selling for stupid money. Man, when Vinny told me that a Zelda game sold for 6 figures, Zelda. Bro, we grew up with Zelda, Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt. What are those? The ones that came like that? Kung Fu, Duck Hunt. What are those, Vinny? What are they called?
Kung Fu was cool. Yeah, I like Kung Fu.
I love Kung Fu. I wish I could find a Kung Fu, but there's no way on God's green earth I'm paying that kind of money for Kung Fu.
Blow on the cartridge like that.
Yeah, you got to blow the cartridge like that and blow in the Nintendo.
I thought Ferd was talking to his cat. I swear to God, I thought he was talking to his cat. I really did. I thought you look at him, he was like talking to his cat, like doing something.
I'm just being random. I'm sorry.
I don't know. He was doing a little. He was having a moment. Yeah.
I was. I went back there. I went back there in 1994, man. I went back for a little bit.
Yeah, clearly. So, but that's my thing. Just understanding that, we gotta be future forward with this shit. So to your point, Trey, I'd be selling some of this shit right now. And now as I think about it, as I live and breathe, I'm going to start trimming some of this shit down. Some of the shit that I know is just like, okay, whatever. Whatever is like, sometimes we would buy shit just because it was a beautiful book. Like, what was that Batgirl book that was pure white? And she was
Middleton variant.
Yeah, Middleton variant. Like, I have like 6 of those. Never graded them, never did anything with them. But like all that shit, man, sell all that. That ain't nothing spectacular. It's just a pretty book.
Yeah,
it's just a pretty book.
And I think the same thing about video games. I think a lot of people are like really, really focused on nostalgia, but a lot of these games like Spot, like there's like that Spot game and just stuff like that. I just don't see how it's gonna last. I mean, it's cool for now. It's a cool flip, but I don't see it long term. Unless it, and I'll get into this more when I get into my segment. But the historical, I think things that have historical value or that will continue that nostalgia cycle are the things that people should focus on.
The video game stuff stresses me out. It really does, because I missed the wave of the, you know what I mean? I missed that wave 5 years ago where people were buying the unopened games and making a killing. But Vinny's talked about it multiple times. We need to be concentrating on CIBs like crazy, because that's where the market's going to be in 10 years. There's only a finite number of those sealed games out there. And obviously that's what everyone wants. You know, sealed copy of Mario Brothers, Zelda, et cetera, et cetera. But there's just not that many out there. So people are going to start looking at the CIB, the box, you know what I mean, with the manual, the game. That is going to be where I think a majority of the collectors are going to start turning to when they realize that if you want to collect high-end video games, I mean, I can't afford a fucking $40,000 to buy a graded Mario Brothers 1 first print. But I promise you, I'm good enough at the internet. I can piece together a first print in about a year if I take my time. And with all the different grading companies out right now, CGC, VGA, WADA, things like that, I think that's where I'm going to start trying to pivot a little bit more of my resources on trying to get some of those classic games and get the good manuals and get good boxes, because I mean, you're not going to find the barn finds and the warehouse finds. There's not going to be that many when it comes to games. They're just not.
Nah, it's not going to be the same. But yeah, and the only thing I would add to that is what I was just talking about. I think yes, CIBs are going to be super important once the sealed population dries up. But also, if people are trying to get into it, I don't think it's too late to get into video games. Look at focus on historical of popular franchises. That's where you can also win if you go all the way back. You know, not just necessarily what you grew up with. Dig into the history, do some research. You can find some really cool games that people may not.
I think also, like, now that with the success of The Last of Us, that, you know, video games that potentially could become movies too. I mean, that just throws it in, right?
Yeah.
Like Metal Gear. That's what I'm kind of specking on, but
dude, they're already CGC last week announced that somebody that they graded one of the Hogwarts Legacy. And I know a lot of people, I mean, Wade played it and a bunch of people have played it, but it's one of the best-selling video games of all time as of last week for the first couple weeks on the numbers. So, I mean, there's so many people that collect Harry Potter and things like that. That's not a bad idea to pick up a copy of that. Here's the thing. You can go in there. If you're comic book people, you know what you're looking for. You want to make sure you got a tight seal on there. There's no nicks. You know, for $60, it's worth picking one up and put it in a box somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Or 3.
Because
it's cheap.
I mean,
right?
I don't disagree. Like, it's just, there's so many. That's the thing about this, like our podcast. There's so many cool stuff to collect right now. The VH, like Southpaw is talking about VHS. There was a Point Break VHS game that went for fucking crazy money yesterday. Did y'all watch that?
Yeah, he sent that to me
the
also.
Point Break VHS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Southpaw knows I'm a big Point Break fan, and oh man, it makes me.
Who's not
sad.
a fucking Point Break fan?
They shouldn't be in this. Every time.
And Patrick Swayze, you got Red Hot Chili Peppers, you got fucking Gary Busey. It's a classic movie. But I think there's not a lot in comic books that I didn't get to do, or I haven't owned, or this and that. So it's very difficult for me to get my engines revved about comics right now. It just is. There's not that many great storylines. And a majority of the books people are fucking collecting now are just because of titties and ass, and that's a whole nother story. Like, do you think, honestly, how many people you think are reading Vampirella books?
Yeah.
But you go look in our group, and that's what a majority of the people post is Vampirellas and shit. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
No, you're
I mean, I personally trip off how every week there's a similar cover with like tits and ass. Every week there's a brand new one. It's like, at some point this shit, it's got to get old.
It's got to. It's like I said, it's creepy to me too. Like I said, we've talked about it before. I mean, they're doing Wednesday Addams sexy variants and shit like that now.
Wild.
It's disgusting. But the sad part about it is people are buying them. It's a very weird. The comic book, like I said, we talk about aging out. but that's what the group of age people that we like. I mean, they like big boob Power Girl shit and stuff like that. I mean, how many people were excited about that Power Girl variant last week? A bunch. The Warren one?
It was botted.
I don't know.
That comic was botted.
I saw, yep. KRS, and what was the other one? KSR. Excuse me. No, KRS.
I think it was Mac. It was a Shopify bot or Shopify site. But yeah, that was botted.
Which is insane to me. Like I said, they're botting comic books now.
It's a bunch of teenagers in cook groups that are buying up those comics and flipping them on eBay to everyone else.
The good thing too about, I've noticed this a lot too. Those young kids, they buy a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
And try to flip it, and they don't. And then they sell it. When mom and dad's credit card bill comes, they liquidate shit really, really quick. They don't have a lot of patience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like anything consumed nowadays. People just don't have patience, especially the younger kids. Totally true.
So what do you guys have changed subjects a little bit? There was some interesting news this week out of Memphis with Ja Morant. Did you guys see all that?
Yeah.
Does that affect his collectability, or does it make it go up? Seriously, I thought about it, and I thought his cards were going to start, the bottom was going to drop out of him. I really did. And that has not been the case.
I mean, I think if you wanted to get in PSA 10, that sort of stuff, I think everyone's jumping on it right now because everybody thinks that, everybody's going to be dumping them. But I don't know. Personally, it's just everything that's surrounding his TikTok videos. It's not just the one that was released last week. This has been going on, and now that it's gone to light, everybody's pulling up those old videos. There's a video of him on a private jet with a bottle of tequila, like 2 bottles of tequila. I don't know if you guys saw that.
No.
But yeah, it's just I don't know. I think it's gonna get a lot worse before it gets better. But I'm not a buyer.
Have you seen the 8 Mile clearance videos they're doing?
Yeah, Papa Doc.
Yeah, the Papa Doc. We know something about you. I guess he said he grew up in. No, I'll send it to you, Ferd. It's fucking hilarious. It shows him like in the family photos of like Easter and all this other stuff, and then it shows him with like a gun and everything else. But
didn't they announce that he was suspended? Didn't he get suspended today? Or there some rumors about him being suspended for a couple games?
He took the Grizzlies said that he was going to miss at least 2 games, and then he said he was going to go work on his mental health or whatever it was. But then Colorado, apparently the police department in Colorado are investigating him because it's illegal to transport a firearm across state lines, and the only way that he could have got it is through an airplane. So.
Would you compare it to the Tatis suspension and how his cards went down?
That's an interesting deal because I think Tatis cheated. Depending on how you look at it. He said he ate some tainted meat or whatever it was, but I mean, he failed the steroid test.
Yeah.
And Ja basically, failed his team in his city. So it's interesting. I don't know. I thought that his cards were. I really did. I thought Jaws shit was gonna. The bottom was gonna drop at him, and that's just not been the case. I mean, he just signed a $200 million contract with Nike, and then this shit happens.
I don't know.
Crazy.
It didn't really. I mean, we don't have an NBA team here in Seattle, but like, I didn't. From what I read,
you know where it's at.
No, I have no idea where it's at. Yeah. You keep them. So from what I read and what I watched in my little lack of involvement in the NBA, it didn't really seem like a big deal, but that's just like my perspective and not a very good one probably, but I don't know. The market, but like you said, the market hasn't really reacted to it negatively. So maybe that's where it is for now.
Yes. Southpaw is right. Those contracts, if you do anything that is egregious or it affects your, the light, your, how people look at you like how the public perceives you or the company, then they'll just drop you. They'll drop you, or any extra advances or monies that you're supposed to get under the deal, they'll just cut it, terminate it. So there's a lot of stuff built in for stuff like that.
And Trey, that whole mental health thing that you mentioned, I think that's kind of how they're maybe his PR people are trying to flip the script, where he's not this drunk gun-wielding guy. He's he's depressed, he has a drinking problem, he's got mental health issues. So
I hate that. To be honest with you, I think people use that as a crutch.
Yeah.
I really do. No, there's people that obviously have mental health issues, but when you sign for the kind of money, like I said, a $200 million Nike deal,
Mason,
plus
come here. I had to get my son together. Y'all excuse me. I had to get him together.
No, yeah. I thought we were about to see him whoop his ass live on the podcast.
Hey, look, we gotta do what it take out here. You know what I'm saying? We gotta get it done. Yeah, that's it.
But as someone who I own a couple of I own a PSA 10 and a SGC, silver Prism jaw. After last year's playoffs, I thought he was absolutely as can't miss as you could get of a prospect. And then this, I'm nervous. I was like, did I just waste $2,500 on basically, Gilbert Arenas Part 2? Because we all know how much talent Gilbert Arenas had.
Yeah.
You remember when he used to cook Kobe? You remember the hibachi game?
Agent Zero.
And then he lost his mind. He started to try to be. Gilbert was already a little bit crazy, but then the league found out a little bit more about it, especially with the gun stuff and everything else. But they're very similar, as far as talent. And I'm just hoping that Ja doesn't continue to try to be something that he's not for aesthetics instead of working on his game, because he has a completely different kind of bounce than anybody else in the NBA.
Yeah. I
mean, his skill set's just different. I mean, he's one of those ones when you watch him on the court, you can't take your eyes on him. He's the fastest. He's, got the most agility, can jump the highest. You can't take your eyes off of him. And that's what the NBA needs. With LeBron LeBron getting older and coming to the end of there's got to be some people to carry that torch. And Ja was one of the ones that I thought was going to do it. And he still might be able to, but he's got to get this shit. He's got to get it turned around.
So did you see that? I jumped off to go grab some right quick, but did y'all talk about how he was out indefinitely with the Grizzlies? Did y'all say that?
Yeah, we're just
breaking news. So he's out with that, and then Black Twitter is having a field day with him because you know how his name is Ja Morant. So now they saying Ja Warrant. You get it, Ja Warrant, like he got a warrant out for his situation.
I saw that one. And Ja Wick.
Ja Wick. Yeah, like John Wick. Yeah, I seen that one as well. Yeah, it's really unfortunate, but I think, as a person who don't really follow sports, but we follow, I follow current events. He has to do better because he has a responsibility for these kids. And, you signing these multi-million-dollar deals and, these kids are watching. So they're looking for opportunities to just follow greatness. And, even when you're great on the court, off court, if you got a bunch of bullshit going on, it just kills it. So it is what it is. Yeah.
Ferd, what do you think about you and Rob? We've been talking some spring training. There has been some awesome prospects do what they were supposed to do right now, from Jordan Walker to Dominguez to Kalinick to who was the A's shortstop guy who was the A's guy you were talking about yesterday? Yes.
Lawrence Butler. He's an outfielder. Yeah. But that's the guy that kind of just came out of nowhere. It's just crazy. So he was batting like 265 last season. This season he came in at spring training. He's got a home run, a triple, 3 doubles, 7 RBIs, and 13 plate appearances. It's just kind of crazy how these I don't want to call them diamond in the roughs, but it's just like these unknown prospects that just come up out of nowhere and just light up spring training.
The Reds. I've been watching the Reds all spring training, man. They're so deep. They have a plethora of prospects.
The infield, yep.
Remember last week Christian Encarnacion Strand. He has the highest slugging percentage.
I
he
looked
was
it
at
up.
Oklahoma State. He was killing the fucking balls at Oklahoma State. And that's I bought a couple of his rookies last year when he got traded to the Reds because I knew he was gonna make it to the league just off his bat.
Yeah.
And that's what's fun to me is to try to find prospects like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Find guys like that you watched in college or whatever. And if you watch enough baseball, you have an eye for it. You know who potentially, you just way the ball sounds off their bat. And he was one of those guys I knew was going to blow up. Same with the Dominguez. When I saw him at 17, the sound of his bat when he hit the ball was just different. There's a few people like that. And Dominguez is one of them. And he's living up to it. I mean, there's a lot of people in New York that are asking if he's actually fighting for a roster spot right now. I don't think he should. I think he needs to spend another year in AA and AAA working on some advanced stuff, but 20 years old, so Jackson Holiday's.
One of the crazy things about Dominguez is, he's a good hitter. He's got pop, but he stole 36 bases last season. So he's got wheels. Yeah. He's got the entire package.
He's a switch hitter too, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That's what's crazy is like he has power from both sides of the plate. He's fast. He's got a good arm, and he's got one of those. One of the things I've heard about him is he has that Miguel Cabrera frame where people are afraid that he could blow up and turn into Prince Fielder and things like that. Which is, remember how good Miguel Cabrera was until he got
he was so
to Detroit?
Tight. Yeah,
and then he got to Detroit. I mean, he was still hitting the ball, but I mean, he was like Pablo Sandoval, basically. Just blew up to the point where all he could do was swing it back.
Yeah, that's the one thing about him. He's got that short, stocky frame. I mean, not short, but he's stocky. But I mean, if he can keep that in check, sky's the limit for that guy. Because, like you said, he can hit from both sides of the plate. He's got wheels. He's got an arm, and he's got that baby face look. So I mean, in New York, they're gonna eat that up.
Ferd brought up some interesting thing about Volpe. I didn't realize that he had what was his heritage again?
He's Filipino. He's half Filipino.
And he made an interesting point.
I literally follow Twitter. It's like Filipino athletes. And so you find out about like this guy has an eighth of Filipino heritage, or like Manny Pacquiao, dominated it, right? But I mean, him being half Filipino and playing for the Yankees. And he looks Filipino. If you look at him, I could recognize a half Filipino kid. He's got the nose. He's got like the facial. He looks the part of being a Filipino. And he is very proud of his heritage as well. So if he really does do what a snippet. I mean, they call him Jeter number 2. He's going to have a fan following internationally in a market that is untapped as far as baseball is concerned. That will follow him and praise him like they did Manny Pacquiao. I almost guarantee it. Yeah,
that's big though. I mean, when you get a whole country behind you, I mean, it's a perfect example. Is like, did anybody see that? I think my internet's going out. I'm going to drop the camera for a second.
And that's our show, folks.
And that's our show. Hey, listen, we've had a great time. I'm cussing out kids. Trey done disappeared. Ralph disappeared. Vinny, you disappearing too?
I'm here.
Okay.
No, he's got slides. He got slides. He has to, and I'm running the slides, so I can't go anywhere.
Yeah, we're stuck.
I'm stuck. Everybody here, I'm the most stuck. I can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the slides. Vinny, I think we're going into video games. What we got?
Let's do it. There was a sale recently on Zelda, one of the kind of like the games to target. So I kind of wanted to just talk about it. Obviously, people know a little bit about the US version of Zelda. The game itself, it was created by Shigeru Miyamoto, who also created Super Mario Brothers. Marcus was mentioning this earlier, but a sealed second or third print went about a year and a half ago for $870,000, right? And that's not even a first print. And that, so I mean that's a game that actually came out like in 87, 88, that second or third print of it. So like I was mentioning before, I'm really big on historical, and I kind of don't understand, when a game that is like the third or fourth or fifth iteration of the game going for like almost $1 million, there's a lot of value in the game that came first, right? So the Japanese first print came out in February 21st, 1986, right? The US first print came out August 22nd, 1987. That's a full year and a half after after the Japanese first print. So I don't get it. So we're talking about a Japanese second, third print going for almost $1 million. Nobody's really targeting these games that came out in Japan. And I think it's simply just a nostalgia, a cultural thing. People are just going back to what they knew when they grew up. Everything as far as collecting, let's face it, is very North America centric. People are not really, people looking at games like this and they're like, oh, well, it's written in Japanese, I can't relate. These are the types of things I hear, but it really doesn't make any sense. So I wanted to just go through, if somebody's really looking and wants to do the research and find it, I wanted to let you guys know like what's out there, right? So for Zelda, there was a version of the game that came out prior to even the first print Zelda release as a promotional item. It's called Charumera Zelda. It was a Japanese ramen company that released Zelda to about 1,500 people prior to the actual retail release. It came with a big like carrying case that I'll show later, and that was it. It was just like a free promotional item. So what I was showing here is on the left we have what the regular version of Zelda in Japan looked like, and on the right, this is the Charumera Zelda. So it's not much different. Everything pretty much looks the same, except the label is a little bit different. So if anybody is targeting this, in my opinion, this is the holy grail of Zelda collecting, if you can find that Charumera Zelda. After that, the Famicom disc, which is this platform. So these discs, as opposed to the cartridge that we knew growing up, they tried out something called the Famicom Disk System, and it was just essentially another system that they put out. They wanted to try some stuff. A lot of big games came out on this. Metroid had their first release on this, Castlevania, Zelda, Super Mario Brothers 2 over there, which was a different game. But there were, what else? Double Dribble, Blades of Steel. There were a lot of really cool games that came out on that system. And actually, Final Fantasy and Mega Man were supposed to come out on that, but they ended up switching up after. So, Ferd, you can go to the next slide. So, okay, if anybody is targeting Charumera Zelda, another thing that you guys have to keep in mind, the bottom one is actually what a real one looks like. The top one is a fake. So I've been looking for these things for years. I have found a couple. I had somebody go find me one in Japan, and I finally got it. I mean, 1,500 of them, you'd figure they'd be somewhat available, but they're really ghosts out there. When they do come up, people bid them up or snatch them up pretty quickly. But be wary that that there is, there are bootlegs out there. So the top one is a bootleg. I don't want to go into a lot of the specific differences, but you can kind of tell that the fonts are different in certain places. There's a serial number on the bottom, things like that. So just something to keep in mind if somebody's actually trying to target this game. This is the box that came with the original Charumera Zelda. It was just like a carrying case. It came with a modified Famicom, which was the Japanese version of the NES inside, and it came with the game. I think it also came with Kid Icarus, but it was just the regular version of Kid Icarus. Also, if anybody's wondering, there's no difference between the two games, between regular Zelda and Charumera Zelda. It's just the label. People have actually done a dump, gone through the whole game. It's the exact same game. All right, so if you cannot find this unattainable Charumera Zelda, which, by the way, doesn't go for, it's not even that much. somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000, I would say, for that. And yes, that sounds like a lot of money, but when you compare it to $870,000, it's really a drop in the bucket. The next thing that I'd be looking for is the first print Zelda. So if you look in that top left corner, it's got what was the Famicom sort of mascot logo thing, and it says Disk System. If you see Disk System written in yellow, that is a first print copy. The other thing you want to look for, of course, you might find an open copy of it. You want to make sure that sticker on the back is intact. So we've got a sticker on the back. The interesting thing about these stickers, they're very similar to the first black box NES games that were in the United States. They were sticker sealed, like those first printings were sticker sealed. So if you actually peel this sticker off, and you essentially the idea was if it gets manipulated or changed in any way, then it'll say void all over it. So what'll happen is the whole sticker will just it'll read void all over it if you actually open it. So if you can look for a nice intact sticker, not something that's crazy or some of them are kind of chewed up or don't really look good, I would be targeting that. The other thing is that if you see that green little thing on the top of the box, that is a piece of paper that has the date codes. This is something I'm still learning about. But based on, like, if you open it up, some of them contain different date codes. So there is a little bit of, okay, some of these first prints came out, maybe were shipped to different parts of Japan at different times, or, maybe within the same couple weeks, but there are these date codes that you can differentiate where it came from and when it went out. This is a second print Japanese Zelda. The way you can tell on this, if you look up at the top, Disk System is written in white. It doesn't have a yellow. It's not colored in yellow. Now, it was interesting because I've been seeing these sell for a little while, and VGA is currently the only company that will grade these Disk System games. Actually, any Japanese games right now, for the most part, VGA will only grade them. I know CGC will not grade them at all. WATA will grade some, like Super Nintendo Japanese games, but pretty much the only game in town is VGA. Ever since Heritage used to have a exclusive contract with WATA, so they would only sell WATA games. They would not sell anything else. So after that expired, they ended up bringing in VGA games. This game just sold for about $6,000, about maybe 3-4 weeks ago on Heritage, which I thought was interesting because, again, this is a second print, and these were pretty plentiful over the last year. I'd say probably in the 700 to 1,200 range. So seeing it go for $6,000 was kind of big. So, just pointing out some other things. This is a later release of Zelda. Sometimes people think this is the Japanese version of Zelda that came first. This is not it. This is a boxed version that came out in February of 1994, but it is still a cool thing regardless. If you're looking for an unopened version of this, just going back to what I said before, you kind of want to make sure there are no creases along those edges, because if you do have a crease, then of course it's been opened, and then you don't know if it's been used or not. And the last thing I wanted to talk about with respect to Zelda is these promotional posters. I think these are super cool. I've found them on eBay before. You can also find them on Yahoo Auctions Japan. But I think these are just a cool piece of history. Just like they have posters like this for Super Mario Brothers, for Castlevania, for Metroid, for Mega Man, just all types of different games. But I think these are just like a really cool piece of history. So if you guys are looking for anything like this, these are relatively cheap, maybe $30 to $50. But I just think these are something cool that if you hold down the line, they might turn into something. They're about like maybe like 8 by 11, something like that. So yeah.
Damn, you're good at video games.
That's what I got, guys.
That's good. Yeah. Shit. I don't know what else to talk about because Vinny done killed it.
Would you put your? I mean, obviously, are you higher on on the Zelda property than the Mario Brothers property long term?
No, not necessarily. I just think that they're both big. They're obviously Super Mario has its own huge, massive following, but I think Zelda is one of those iconic games that people put like right under Super Mario Brothers. When they think just nostalgia and history and stuff like that. So I just really like that game. Now, Super Mario Brothers, I will get into in another episode, and we'll go through all the prints of that because, again, just like Zelda, there are versions of Super Mario Brothers that preceded the U.S. version, and there's a few different box variants. So we can go through that another time.
Do you think that this new Mario movie is going to help video games, especially like the classic ones like that?
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah, I think so.
And then it doesn't look bad.
Yeah, it doesn't. Ferd is muted. Yeah.
I was just gonna say it's like a bunch of like families that like family friends and stuff. Like they're all families are gonna go see the movie. So it's one of those cross. Like Nintendo's got those properties that just cross ages, and it looks good. So we'll see.
I think the other thing to keep in mind, what is it? Super Nintendo World didn't it just open at Universal Studios?
Yeah.
Yeah. It did.
So this is something that these characters from the original Nintendo are not really going to die out anytime soon. As long as it's what we were going back and talking about before. If there's something that is going to continue this nostalgia for future generations, they have a pretty good shot. So if you're collecting video games, maybe you don't want to, collect like, some of the obscure stuff or like Pilot Wings or something like that. Maybe you want to go for those, Super Mario Brothers and Zeldas and the games that are going to continue to be around. So, yeah.
I got something to say, but I ain't gonna say it. I'm gonna let you end it on that note, Vinny, because I think that I really do believe this. All the pictures that Vinny showed in his segment are all games that he has in his house currently. He took the pictures and he sent them to Ferd. And it's just some normal shit that Vinny does. Vinny is I told you what I tell you.
I do have a Tarmara Zelda. I do have that. And this is something that I really had to track down. So I tried to send it actually to VGA to get graded, and they told me they would, right? And then they changed their mind because they were like, "Oh, we can't authenticate it." So they just put it in this box that I can't seem to open. So it's in here. I have it, but that kind of sucked a little bit.
Well, speaking of stuff that you have, Ferd, I know you got a 5 for 5 for us. What do we got?
Actually, we got Ralph. Ralph's got some stuff.
Oh,
Ralph
we
got
the vinyl stuff.
The vinyl.
He's got some vinyl stuff. Yeah.
So
cook.
Let's go.
No, I just have an idea, concept of speccing on vinyl, and ways to kind of what. Actually, it's the Coachella lineup.
One sec.
So since we have we got Vinny and Marcus, I kind of want to get your thoughts on this too. But what I was thinking is, like I said, different ways that we can spec on vinyl. And 2 releases that just happened is that Gorillaz new album and that Lana Del Rey. And so the vinyl sat on the websites for at least a couple days, and once they sold out, they on the secondary market they kind of just went bananas. I mean, not crazy, but they're selling over $100. This is without hearing the entire album, so it kind of depends on if the album is actually good. But since you two are in the music business, I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that type of spec. Buying up these albums pre-order and then hoping that the album is good.
I'm gonna be honest with you. With vinyl, I'm more of a buy what you love, right?
Right.
I was in Target the other day. I saw all 4 copies of the Taylor Swift joint. I did not know that if you have all 4 copies of it, you could sell that in and of itself for like $400 or some sort of crazy number. If you have all of this particular Target just so happened to have all of the Taylor Swifts. Like they had just restocked, they got them. The lady even told me, she was like, "Hey, this Taylor Swift shit don't last long. Here it all is right here. I seen a Michael Jackson. No, seriously, I seen a Michael Jackson for, bro. You already know. I'm like, can you imagine me going in buying Taylor Swift? I mean, it's like, and not to say that Taylor Swift is, not to say Taylor Swift is bad. I love Taylor Swift, but I'm just saying, Beyonce had the greatest dance video of all time. But that's a whole nother thing. That was a Kanye moment.
And then here's kind of the other thing I was wondering. Okay, so these new albums that are coming out, and then the artists that are going on tour to support these albums, like you have Gorillaz that are headlining Coachella, Lana Del Rey is as well, Frank Ocean I think is also. Yeah. So, I mean, not too long ago, Frank Ocean released the repress of Blonde, and that was selling for 60 retail, and right out the gate it was going for 200. So. Yeah. Not a bad idea to kind of, I think the price has dropped, but when he performs at Coachella, and I don't know if he's going to perform Blonde, but I can definitely see that Blonde album, if he does a couple songs at Coachella, going up.
I'm not mad at Blackpink. I'm not mad at Bad Bunny, because these are like built-in audiences. It's almost like grabbing early like One Direction vinyl, or right. or what's the super group that just they're going on to the military? Yeah, BTS. I'm about to say, because they're going on to the military, and then they're gonna come back and do another album or something. But like any of that, but especially I love the way you're thinking as far as like with Coachella happening. Yeah. People are dropping these limited edition joints and or just vinyl period, and then they go do a great job at Coachella. That vinyl is automatically going to shoot up.
Exactly,
and that's why I'm saying somebody like a Bad Bunny, who has an incredible show. If you haven't seen it, Blackpink, that K-pop shit is a whole nother animal in and of itself. I don't really play in the K-pop arena. I think Vinny plays in it just a little, just from just on the other side of it, on what he does.
He loves that shit.
But it's kind of similar to the Rihanna.
Where'd he go? He fell out. No, but okay. So I will say that just by, if you think about runs of vinyl, just generally speaking, they're always low. I can tell you that from just being at a distribution company. Like, we don't go crazy on our runs of any vinyl. So if it's something that's popular, if it's an album that's iconic, that's that fans are resonating with, number one, we're in this digital era where you don't get to buy the album and look through the liner notes and kind of do all that stuff. Now it's like you get on Spotify, you look through the metadata. It's just like a different thing, right? So having, number one, a tangible asset is awesome, but I think something that's super limited, that some of the people are going to buy it because they're audiophiles. So they're going to buy vinyl and they're going to put it on their record player, and because they say it's better, sounds better on a record than it does on like something with lossless audio. And so there's going to be less sealed copies of this stuff. So I think that stuff's great. Something I wanted to mention too is, like, for example, Nigo dropped his album recently, and when Trey started talking about vinyl, I was like, all right, I'm going to go to Target, and I ended up finding this, right? It's like I thought this was cool. This is a Cause variant of the vinyl for Nigo's album that was specific to Target. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. And it checks all the boxes for me. It's got Cause artwork on it. It's limited, and it's for something people are looking for. So, and it's also super low print run. I already know it. So,
and just kind of speaking to that Gorillaz album, let me just.
I've said it for a while. The flip RFlome's been doing in the vinyl for us is fucking nuts. If you guys want to make some money, go follow the vinyl section, because he literally drops 5 or 6 links every day. It's not a bullshit flip. It's literally, you're going to make $60 on it, because these limited albums that he's talking about, a lot of them are, they're variants, which we're familiar with. There's autograph ones. I mean, I got some. Did you get any of that Obi one? That autograph Obi out?
The Pierce the Veil, yeah, I did. But this one that I have here is the Obi edition of that new Gorillaz. So there's only 300 of these, and I mean, literally the only difference is that Obi strip here. But like this, it's from overseas, from the UK. Like I said, they only made 300. It does. it's 40 plus $20 shipping, but they go for 160, 200 in some cases. So this is kind of the stuff that I kind of want to go back to as far as the new album. Gorillas, what everybody's talking about it being a good album or good reviews. So holding on to something like this and selling it during Coachella, like maybe during the set or during the day they play, not a bad play.
Not a bad play.
Not bad at all.
Not a bad play. It's very smart.
And you know this as well. Look, Mac Miller and Lana Del Rey vinyls don't
easy.
do bad. Like you were talking about, if you ever come upon any limited Lana, you scoop them. And the same thing with Mac Miller albums. and the joke in the vinyl community is just wait till the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Because that's when the vinyl sales explode between
Nuts.
Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's insane. I mean, they go up 200 or 300% from where they're at. And we're gonna have Ralph talk about later about ungating on Amazon and how to move some of the vinyl at another time. But
yep,
I love it. I got $400 on vinyl last week.
Yeah, same, dude. I'm spending crazy. I'm loading up for the fourth quarter. But like the next topic I wanted to talk about in regards to vinyl is the niche fan bases, the metal groups, trip hop, these kind of subgenres of the music. For instance, this one here, this Bad Omens. This is one I actually posted up to Raz, but these vinyls go for $25 and they sit for in some cases a week, and this is kind of what they do in the secondary market. I mean, at first I wasn't a believer, but you know, this is kind of what I'm talking about when I post these links. So just going back to Vinny and Marcus and getting your thoughts on this, do you guys see this as a trend that continues where these, so like this is a Bad Omen, that's a metal band, but then there's JPEG Mafia, there's Boldy James, like those type of artists that put out 250, in some cases 100 limited vinyls, and they just they fly.
Yeah, I think
those go crazy.
Yeah, I think super fans. I mean, that's 100, 200, 250 copies. That's nothing, you know, in the grand scheme of things. So that's something that you can't even. It's almost not even attainable. So those are a no-brainer for me.
Just something to. I mean, obviously Taylor Swift, Mac Miller, those are the easy flips. But looking into these smaller bands, these. You know, the super fans, hip hop, JPEG Mafia, those kind of guys, is kind of what I guess is the other piece of spec that I wanted to touch on.
Yeah, those vinyl records and vinyl artists with those small print runs, I like to look at them like spray ground backpacks. You know, when spray ground backpacks first got started, it was only like 100 to 200 of them, and you know, it was just a small demand, which created more of a demand for the supply, right? It's only 200 of these, and when it's gone kind of thing, right? So then it creates more of a demand, and then it also creates monetary opportunities for the early adopters who grabbed on to said music artists early. You know, they believe that they get a chance to like go on the journey with the artist as the artist is kind of going up. Like, you know, you dropped the JPEG Mafia. You know, I've done a couple of shows with JPEG Mafia with one of the artists that we work with, and JPEG Mafia is an incredible talent. He has an amazing show. And just to know that he got some vinyl out there, I would love to support a JPEG Mafia, knowing that, you know, the opportunity is there for him to really kind of blow up and branch out. Imagine grabbing, you know, the Baby before the Baby became the Baby.
Yeah.
Any of that. You know what I'm saying? Imagine grabbing LL Cool J vinyl before LL became LL. I mean, you know, even, you know, right now in this moment, you know, LL, the Bad album, you know, any Run DMC, any early Def Jam, when it was the Def Jam 6, like any of those records are classic joints right now. Any of that Murder Inc. in a more future forward is some shit right now. So it's money there.
Dude, you can spec on vinyl. Here's a perfect example. I want you guys, if you get bored tonight, look up a country artist by the name of Zach Bryan. He was the second most streamed country artist other than Morgan Wallen last year. His first album was $85 about a year ago. A couple sold for $400 last week. So it's exactly like you're talking about. Find an artist that you like and go look and see if they have a limited colored vinyl. That's the game now. Speaking of that, are we going to get any Tissa vinyl?
Yeah. So we're actually working on vinyl for that, and then also a little birdie told me that we might get some Paul Walker Millionaire vinyl as well as we're getting the Get Your Mind Correct is coming into, like, I guess the 25-year anniversary of Get Your Mind Correct. So like a lot of I just saw someone put in the group chat in the Discord, ESG had vinyl that was out. And,
I
Swinging in the South. Yeah, it was like 300 copies that was out there, and I think it sold out. You know what I'm saying? Like that, those kind of niche kind of things are where it's at right now. So yeah, so definitely, we're working on that. But even that model of just having small quantities and speaking directly to the fan is kind of where we are right now. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the idea of speccing on vinyl is, I mean, I don't want to say it's entirely new, but that looking at vinyl and speccing on it is not something I was doing a few years ago. But now that it's blowing up, you kind of have to just get past the big artists, Taylor Swift, that sort of stuff. I mean, that stuff does work, but at some point people catch on to that. So looking into these niche artists is kind of, I think, where it's at.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What was the stuff you were specking on, Trey? The kind of niche stuff that was coming out. It was a hip hop. I can't remember who it was, but damn, it'll come to me. But anyways, they were dropping like 1 to 200 limited runs of vinyl on like their site, and they would sell out every time. I can't remember what it is, but
yeah.
Trey, that was on you. What vinyl? I think his internet.
I was also for.
But let me take this moment while Trey is trying to figure out what's going on. Thank you guys for hanging out with us right now. We've had at least 15 to 20 that's been on right now. It's 11 strong hanging out with us. This is like the first real episode. So, of course, there's going to be a couple of kinks and things like that. But we definitely appreciate all the energy and the love that you guys are giving. I do want to take this time to tell you guys to please subscribe and give a thumbs up to the OTR YouTube. I mean, this is where you're going to be able to grab everything on the Radar Collectibles, as well as Rumble, and we will have the audio that will be for you. That'll be on all your favorite podcast channels in about 24, 48 hours after the show. It'll take time to populate, but we definitely are here to give you this shit every week. Every week we're here. We popping it off every week. It's exciting times.
We're definitely, like I said, my internet's fucking us up tonight. I'm in some shitty DoubleTree internet, so if you hear some chop and stuff, it's because of that. We're going to clean all this stuff up. Like I said, Ferd is killing it on the fucking board for literally throwing him into the fucking deep end right before this. And like I said, this is Ralph's first podcast, I believe. You fucking
it is.
Sound like a pro already.
Mike's good and everything.
You guys are the pros. I'm just following your guys' lead.
Tony's right.
Following my lead. I'm the star here. You following my lead.
There's no doubt about that.
I just caught what he said and like delay reaction. Fucking A, man.
Go ahead. What'd you say, Vinny? What were you saying?
No, I said there's no doubt about that. Anyways, moving on.
No doubt.
Oh, whatever. We're not touching that. Yeah, I do believe Kickstarter vinyl does have room to grow. Also, Kickstarter games. I seen somebody that had a game that was on Kickstarter that took off, and it is a Nintendo Switch game. It's a Nintendo Switch game that started out as a Kickstarter. It was an independent game that started out on Kickstarter. It was only looking for $200,000. It ended up getting like over $1 million in funding. And the last 3 levels of the game is like Zelda-like dungeons. It's it's a whole thing. It's crazy. So I always feel like, you know, finding the right Kickstarter thing to get behind is important, whether it be, you know, TCG, video games, you know, music, or, you know, whatever the case may be. Absolutely. That's my thought.
I got a Grand Archive box or something. One of those Kickstarter Patreons from the pandemic finally fucking showing up, apparently.
That's awesome.
Really? Okay. Why is everybody? Cool. Man, look, hold on. See, I look down for a second. I come back looking back up because my phone dinged. I was looking at a text message. I come and look back up. Everybody quiet. What are we doing? What are we talking about?
Ralph, yeah, you got this guy, right?
Yeah. So just going back to the you know, the shoe stuff, since, you know, Trey mentioned that we might start going heavy in the Discord on this, since everybody's hitting these limited edition sneakers. So recently Nike's release policy leaked, and I guess what's the main takeaway from this is that are you guys aware with Copdate? It's the app that you kind of boost your raffle chances by adding a couple bucks here and there.
Yeah,
no.
I've seen that. Don't they? I mean, I know StockX does something like that, but I don't know on other sites.
Yeah, so basically what Nike mentions in this this release policy is that shouldn't be going on, and the fact that it is kind of just it's heading towards eliminating these type of apps at Copdate, StockX, adding that $1 to $2 extra to boost your raffle chances. So I thought that was pretty unique there. The other bit of shoe news was the Adidas and Yeezy situation. So apparently Adidas is sitting on about $500 million worth of Yeezy product, and they kind of just don't know what to do with it. It looks like they have the okay from Kanye, but at this point, would that stuff even sell like it used to? I mean, would you guys buy Yeezys at this point?
Nah.
Dude, that's the most comfortable shoe. I got a pair on as we speak. No fucking cap. And that's what I walk around in. They're the most comfortable shoe you can buy.
I think people are still going to buy them, and now it's like finite, right? So, yeah, probably. You know, people do like them.
If I was Kanye, back then didn't want me, now I'm hot, y'all on me. You need me to come back and sell this $500 million. You know what I'm saying? You talk about me, you know, everything else. It was, you know, when I said what I said, you know, about the Jews and, you know, I was off my meds, all this other stuff. Now you need me to come back and sell this shit for you. I'm charging. That's it. I'm charging, and that's real.
Yeah, I mean, from a reselling perspective, it'd be tough to kind of go out and buy Yeezys and hope to flip them for $100, $200 at this point. And I don't think if they do come out, I don't think they're going to have that Yeezy name attached to it. It's just going to be called Adidas Boost 350, something like that. Yeah. So,
well, if that's the case, then find somebody else to do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you know that Kanye is a melting pot of just negativity in the context of what we're talking about, find somebody else to do it. Find somebody else that you can just say Adidas Boost 350 and it works. Find a rapper. Do it with Tyler, the Creator. Do it with Pharrell, like everybody else. I mean, it can work. It doesn't grab Jay-Z.
Yeah, and what Ultra said in the comments, flip Jordans, not Yeezys.
True. Agree.
That's a true statement. I'm not mad.
Dude, Adidas themselves in the foot on the flip in the Yeezys when the Yeezy did last year.
Yep.
When it was hard to get one out without Kanye's, you know what I mean? That's a high end Oreos and things like that, like crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Remember that.
So yeah, the Yeezy flips haven't been doing good for about 2 years, in all honesty. And, you know, any of the Jordan 1 originals, you know, new colorways, you know, anything North Carolina related color-wise. Yep. I mean, Ralph will be able to talk on this a lot better. And even guys like Wade, I have never hit a fucking raffle. I've never hit a sneakers raffle in 4 years. Not one. And I buy shoes. I buy Jordan golf shoes every time they come out. Every fucking release. I watch the videos. I do everything you're supposed to do. Never hit.
Well, Vinny, Trey, because they expect you to spend the money because you're Chuck Wagon Trey. You got the bread. Come on, buy these shoes. Buy these Tiffany AF1.
I'm too old.
good.
Like I would wear those Tiffany Air Force Ones, but I'm fucking too old. I can't be rocking shit like that.
I mean, it's all black. You can get away with that.
You can get away with that, bro. I've seen a 68-year-old man really roll out here with some hard drip, bald head, gray beard, still out here in these streets, cut up for the ladies. You can do it, Trey.
Sorry.
You can do it. You can do it, Trey.
You just hit me every time, man.
Yeah, I'm just saying it can work, fam. Like you playing, you can do it.
I bought my dad a pair of Yeezys for Christmas. For real.
Okay, did he put them on?
That's cool.
Does he wear them?
He wears them every day. Like I said, he put mine on one time, and I told him I was like, "There's not a better shoe to walk around in than these." And like he said, when he was going through his cancer treatments, I bought them for him, and he still wears them. Wears them every single day. Gets made fun of. He wears them with shorts and fucking white socks all the way up.
That's awesome.
I was like, it is what it is. But my dad got that. Awesome. My dad got that strap on him at all times, though, so he ain't.
He got what?
My dad carries the strap. He'll go to the fucking dentist and he got a strap on him.
He got that thing on his hip.
He's one of those guys that can still carry shit. He takes it for real.
Yeah, he walking in the grocery store with it hanging off his hip, looking like Roscoe Pico Train. He goes.
Exactly, you're sadly that's not too far off.
Yeah, but you know what? I love it. That's amazing.
You would like my dad.
Oh man, I can't wait to meet him. It's gonna be fun. Let's do it.
Dude,
Ferd.
By the way, before we hit Ferd with this, I think Vinny and Marcus and I are going to try to do something live from South by Southwest if everything works out. So.
Yeah.
Trey, you coming?
Marcus, you damn right I'm coming. If I say I'm going to be somewhere, I'm going to be there.
Okay, cool.
That's badass.
All right, we're going to do it. Yeah, so we will broadcast live from South by Southwest. It's going to be fun. That is next week at some point in time. Next week.
Cool. Yeah. Down for it.
We will broadcast live from South by. It's going to be a lot of fun. South by is always amazing. Someone told me that while I'm there, or while we're there, we need to go to Flat Stock. And that's like where the movie posters and art posters are. They do it. It's a South by Southwest thing, exclusive. Not necessarily exclusive. You don't need a badge to get in, but it's called Flat Stock. I don't know nothing about it, but I know Mondo is up there. It's a bunch of people that do all these kind of high-end posters during South by. You can get them at that time. I'm excited about it. I can't wait to go.
I'm curious about the NFT stuff. Vinny brought that up. If they're going to do like any type of Art Basel stuff with, random QR codes and stuff like that at South by Southwest.
They did it. They've done it for the past year or so. I can almost guarantee they haven't announced anything. I know one year, was that the year, Vinny, we did it. We were there. It was Doodles had the whole party.
I think so. Last year.
Yeah, it was last year. Like Doodles had a whole party. Like it was a whole warehouse that was gutted, and you walk in, it's like your doodle is all on the screen. You scan something, and your doodle pops up, and you walking through this interactive maze. Yeah, all kind of shit like that.
Yeah, South by Southwest is broken up into 3 different parts. Like one is tech, one is music, and one is film. So I don't know when they're going to do everything. It might fall under the tech realm, but there's probably going to be some NFT stuff while we're down there during the music week.
Cool.
I'm gonna try to take it to some good barbecue, depending on what nights we're gonna hook it. So if we go some Terry Blacks or something.
Terry Blacks stays packed. We tried to do that when we were here. I mean, last year tried to do that. No bueno. Terry Blacks is crazy. We'll try to figure it out though. I mean, there's food out there. We'll get y'all some good chicken and French fries and Gus's. Get you some Gus's chicken and.
That ain't that bad chicken.
Vinny's on a diet. He's not gonna be able to eat that shit. He's gonna be frou-frou.
I mean, when you're walking 10 miles a day, you eat whatever you want. Because that's damn near what happens every time.
I don't walk 10 miles a day. Y'all can have that. I'm in the car. So you can see me. I'm out there. I'm in the car.
I definitely do it. I look at my steps whenever I'm out there. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So
no, Bobo's is a place. Wade's talking about it. It was a food truck in Oklahoma City where this dude would literally fried his his wings in honey. Like literally, that was the grease he used was honey, and he fried the wings in honey and he served them. They're insanely good.
I don't know if I want honey wings because it's you're frying in the honey.
I'm telling you, you have them once. It was a different level.
Yeah, I don't know. I had to check that out. I'm interested. It has my attention.
I just read that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's get into Ferd's 5 for 5. Yeah.
You guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right.
Better than that $5 footlong segment.
I like $5 footlong.
I do too. I mean, they're not bad, they're not bad. So I thought this concept just with I'm actually thinking about this for like a month or so. Figure I'd bring something new to OTR. And basically this concept is when FOMO goes one way, I want to go another way, or just think of something else that could follow that FOMO or whatever it may be. And so that's kind of the concept of this segment. So the segment is called When They Bob, I Weave. And so basically what we're looking at is just any type of property that everyone's looking at. I'm looking somewhere else that maybe is under the radar, kind of that type of deal. So my first example is Held to Pay #1. A couple weeks ago, this book came out. I actually read this series. It's a pretty cool book. It's written by Charles Soule. There's some option news tied to this book, and the book went from like cover price to around $10 to $15. It's the weird thing is there's not really any studio tied to it. There's not like a director or a writer. It's optioned. So everyone just kind of flew to this book for whatever. It's a great read. It's a great story, but it's only 3 months old. Kind of the same time, Tomb Raider Witchblade was optioned about a week before, and I know it's been done before. It's an older property, but it was going for around the same amount as Hell to Pay was going for. Now, the difference with Tomb Raider Witchblade #1, there's a writer attached to it. You have an actual company that's like, we have money, Amazon, and it's a video game property. It's it's not Tomb Raider Witchblade. It's Tomb Raider is optioned. I figure it's just a better value, and I think it got foreshadowed by the DCU announcements. And I've had these books in my back issue bins for like ever, so I pay cover price for them. But I mean, you can still get them for $10 to $15, and I mean versus Hell to Pay, which really doesn't have any, it's just a new property, like which is great, but there's no real like concrete anything's tied to it. So I think this is a better play. Anyway, what do you guys think?
That's interesting. I'm gonna get one of those.
Yeah, you get a cover price. You go dig in your dollar bins, and then the later issues of Tomb Raider Witchblade, they go for like I think 25 to 30 because an Adam Hughes cover, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so we were talking about some prospects this year. I think definitely just because of the New York property, Jason Dominguez has flown. If you weren't getting him December, I was actually looking at some old prices of Jason Dominguez PSA 10s. That actual Bowman Chrome 2020 set, I think a Mega Refractor went for like $50, and a PSA 10. It's currently going for $300. I have it actually in the little ticker on the bottom there, amongst other collectibles. It's kind of our trending ticker there.
It was the auto.
That auto, I don't know what that's going for. But the regular, the Sapphire PSA 10 in December was going for $50 PSA 10.
Man.
And Marcus, I sent you that or I sent you guys that link, Marcus. I think you were thinking about buying it, but a PSA 10 Sapphire Jason Dominguez went for 300. So it's a little risky. I mean, at this point right now, I still think he's going to be a superstar. I mean, he's hitting the crap out of the ball. However, you got my boy Jarred Kelenic, who has a boulder the size of Mount St. Helens on his shoulder, trying to prove everybody wrong. He's hit 4 home runs. He's hitting like 418, slugging 1,026. So he's already been in the major leagues. He's kind of, at this point, he's kind of like, dude, Mariners are basically like saying, we're going to trade you away or you make it this year. And so far, the past like 4 or 5 games, he's hitting amazing. And they say that he's being a lot more patient, and the clock, actually the batter's clock is actually working to his benefit because he hasn't had time to like really think. He's more just kind of playing the game. I think this is kind of a better bet at this point because of the potential that Jarred Kelenic has. He's playing opposite Julio Rodriguez, so there's more attention on Julio, and he just has that weird personality. Like he's kind of an angry baseball player. His rookie from 2018, the one I'm showing here, autographed one goes for $100 raw. It's autographed, not a regular, but an autographed one goes for $100 raw. I think you can get a PSA 10 for like $150. So if everyone's going to want Jason Dominguez because he's the hot commodity, he's New York Yankee, which I still, but I still like him anyway. But if you want maybe a little bit more of a cheaper bet and maybe like not so much people are looking at him and he could potentially be a great player next year, Jarred Kelenic's another way to go. Do you guys know about Jarred? I know you guys know about Jason.
Yeah, I mean,
Jason Dominguez, but
like you mentioned, he's only 23, and when you think about it, Carlos Pena is 25, and prior to the World Series, I mean, he did well during the season, but if you looked at his cards during the season versus obviously after the World Series, he just shot up, and he's 23, so I mean, he's still got time.
Right. Yeah.
Nice.
All right,
I found one.
Nice.
I see. I've talked about this. I buy everything SGC right now. And I understand that it's not PSA, but I think the value on SGC 10s are the way to go for collectors that are starting to dip their toes into sports cards.
Yeah, I've been looking at that too, and I agree with you too. You kind of get a better value. I like them better than PSA personally, the way it presents, at least for me. But another segment that I don't think it's caught steam yet, and I wonder if it's because like older generations don't really know about laser discs, but there's a lot of concentration on VHS sealed properties. I kind of dig the laser disc. I kind of dig them a little bit better. I feel like there's a lower print run of laser discs versus VHS, obviously, because laser disc lasted 2 or 3 years. They present a little better too, like a record as well, because obviously they're record size. And I don't know, I found this Karate Kid 2 sealed for like $30 versus a $90 to $100 for the same VHS. I don't know the print runs exactly, but I feel like this is kind of an untapped market and an alternative to VHS that people seem to be paying more of a premium towards.
Yeah, I think you're right, Ferd. And Laserdiscs were kind of, there weren't that many people that really had those. It wasn't as widely available as VHS players. So I think just by nature of that, the print runs had to be smaller,
Yeah, right. I knew like one person had a Laserdisc, and like I remember we watched like, I don't know, some like Terminator 2, and it was like 5 discs long. So like every 30 minutes you had to replace the next freaking like thing. So obviously they weren't very great media. Anyway,
Ferd, I don't know if I told you the story, but like when I didn't know you very well yet when you first got into OTR, I knew who you were. Big Leg and a couple others told me about you. And then I don't know if you remember, but you dropped your Godfather Laserdisc spec.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought it immediately. because it made so much sense to me. Exactly what you're talking about. The print run, finding sealed laser discs in good condition for as big as they are, for not to have nicks in the plastic and things like that, are insanely hard to find. I've been steadily looking into laser discs after I bought that Godfather because I wanted to get a Predator, and there's a couple other that I wanted to buy. And I think this is the kind of stuff that I enjoy. The VHS, the magazines, the laser discs, the stuff that people just, the market doesn't know a lot about yet. And I think this is one of those things.
Yeah. No, thanks, man. And what kind of also made me think about too is like, I don't know any companies that grade laser discs. So there's probably, so right there it tells you like there's not a big amount of people that are like either collecting them or looking for them as an alternative. So that was kind of another reason why I thought, oh yeah, laser discs seem kind of just make more sense to me. So at least at the prices that they sell for. Mm-hmm. And this isn't necessarily a property, but a person to kind of watch out for. I don't know how much people are really into just sports or basketball or top 100 prospects in high school, but I know there's a lot of concentration on Bronny James. He's a great player. The more that I watch him and a more YouTube video I watch of him, like I think he's really improved his game versus like a year before where I just felt like he's LeBron's son, and he's always going to have that stigma, right? So I feel like as a collector, like he's going to have to surpass like arguably the greatest player of his generation and then some to become like, better than his dad, right? But DeJon Wagner Jr. is kind of a stud, man, compared to Bronny James, in my opinion. Now, I'm 40, so when I was growing up, his daddy was like the dude, right? You gotta remember him. He played 1 year at college. He scored 100 points in high school. He was like, for me, he was like the first hype guy before college. You know what I mean? So, and DeJon Wagner, man, like he's a little bit better than his pop, and he's a scorer. He's playing for Kentucky, and there's one other kid I was gonna label. I think his name's Mikey. I forgot the kid's name, but he played with LeBron.
Mikey Williams.
Mikey Williams. He was the other one I was going to talk about, but I don't know. DeJon Wagner's kind of got like, for me, and I think guys like our age, like that name rings a bell kind of with our generation as well. And I think he's going to be a better player than Bronny, in my opinion. So just kind of look out for him. Who knows? And that's
Do you know what stopped his dad from being even better? He got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, which is one of the same thing as kind of a version of Crohn's disease. They're one and two very similar. And that's what he wasn't able to train and properly. He lost so much weight. Larry Brown from the Knicks, where they actually got him the best. When that last season he was on the Knicks, Larry Brown saw what was going on, and they got him really good treatment and helped save his life. True story.
Wow.
And that's one of the reasons that he ever since he left Memphis that year and he got the NBA, he wasn't getting good sleep and he wasn't absorbing nutrients properly, and he didn't have a lot of energy. And it's sad to say, because if he would have, if it would have been a little bit further down the road medically, he might have been able to play a little bit more and have a little bit more successful career. But he was honestly Derrick Rose before there was a Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
Yep. The way his violent ability to slash, his frame, what Russell Westbrook-ish as well. And I haven't got to see his son play. I've seen highlights when Ferd kind of inferred that he was going to do this. And I love seeing these kids. You know what I mean? Because like we talked about, we collected that Slam magazine when I was in high school with his dad on the cover. And now you got...
Yeah, DeJuan Wagner was kind of the first. Him, Sebastian Telfair, Eddie Curry, those guys were like the first Wembayamas, those kind of guys. They were on the cover of Slams, and nobody had ever seen high school kids on a cover of a basketball magazine hyped up like this. Yeah. And so DeJuan Wagner definitely was one of those guys.
He was before LeBron in a way, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's crazy to think about that. Like this is weird, but I remember my backpack, my senior and junior in high school, I had Source magazines, Slam magazines, and North American Whitetail. Those were the three magazines that I would literally have in my backpack. I'm not kidding you. That's so awesome. But I mean, that's what I tried to do. And I went and I bought a bunch of North American whitetails. Like that was one of the things my dad, he got a subscription and a new one come in and have big bucks in or whatever. And we'd read it together. And it's one of those nostalgia things. When I got older and I had disposable income, I went and found all those ones that we had and I gave them to him for Christmas, like 40 of them. And he looks to them every night before he goes to bed and reads the old stories and stuff like that. And magazines are cool, man. Magazines have got me excited.
It's weird to like open up an old Wizard and just like rip it open, take the cards out. Look, I saved the little half coupons, like those comic book half coupons. I have a stack of them. I go through them. I fill them out, just like fucking dick around, you know. It's dumb, but like it just, I don't know. It's like my little escape, so it's kind of funny.
You guys saw that CGC also dropped, I guess, a new case, right, for magazines.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. So
that's all I got, man. Hope you guys like that segment. It's a tough one, but yeah, I thought it was kind of cool.
I loved it.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that's super cool, man. Yeah.
The fact that, like I said, we put this together in 2 days and you kicked ass, Ferd. Amazing job on producing it. Like I said, for Ralph being his first podcast, awesome job. You had to deal with my interrupted, ignorant ass for fucking 2 hours.
It's not as easy as it looks. That's for sure.
And like I said, you know, hopefully Jizzy Gillespie will offer enough money we can finally get Vinny's top off. That's going to be the new goal going forward.
Never going to happen.
Yeah, thanks for everybody for joining. This is really fun. I felt very relaxed. Maybe I'm just more chill around you guys now. So it's nice to get this started. I think it was a good show.
Cool.
Yeah, we went about 45 minutes longer than we wanted to, and we still lost. There's about 5 segments we didn't even get to. So we're going to try to tighten it up and get a little bit more precise. Hour and a half is what we're going to shoot for. I think hour and a half will keep people's attention a lot better than 3 hours at some point in time. So
yeah. And thanks for the chat.
Thank you guys. Literally, we really appreciate all this.
Yeah, that's fun.
Reminder to like and subscribe, and appreciate everybody.
Yeah, I'm going to give away some shit. All the 12 people that were here tonight that commented, I'm going to put a little something together, a little giveaway for something pretty cool. So you guys are appreciated for showing up tonight. And another thing, Monday, we're going to try to do this on Monday. We're not trying to step on anyone's toes on Tuesday. I know the flip side does some stuff on Tuesday. That's not what we're trying to do. We were going to do it last night, but unfortunately, my flight got canceled and delayed, and it just wasn't where I could get to it. So we're going to start shooting for Monday nights, to be honest with you, depending on everyone's schedule and so on and so forth. There might be some times where we're not able to do something live. We'll let everyone know ahead of time, but we're going to try to be consistent on a weekly schedule. And, you know, that's the other thing, too, is, you know, if Vinny goes into a video game store or, you know, Ferd goes into a card store or somebody does. We're just going to try to make it fun. You know what I mean? We're going to open packs on Rumble. We're going to freestyle battle. We're going to do some shit. I'm joking.
I'll karaoke. Just kidding. You don't want to see that.
I'm going to call Vinny out.
Marcus, any last words?
No, I mean, you know, the after orgasm glow kind of sets it all off for me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow. Man, check us out. Check the podcast out on all your favorite podcast channels. It will be up, you know, in the Apple Store. It will be up Spotify, Tidal, Pandora, anywhere you listen to podcasts. This podcast,
Pornhub, RedTube, all the big ones will be on there.
All right. Well, listen, it's been a great episode of On the Radar Collectibles. The new 5 is in the house, feeling good, feeling excited. Ferd, thank you so much. Trey, thank you as always. Vinny,
thank you guys.
RFlome, Ralph, I appreciate you, fam. Like, this is, man, you, Vinny, you will always be my Black Panther. Okay. Ralph, it is truly a pleasure. And
likewise.
welcome to OTR, baby. It's we're gonna have a great time. It's gonna be good.
Thank you guys for welcoming me. You guys have been awesome.
You literally the stuff that you've done to help on the Discord. I got like an 18 on the ACT. We wouldn't even have. I can barely make a section. So all the roles, all the cool stuff you've seen, 100%. It's been Ralph behind the scenes, and I appreciate it because I know how much time it does take to do some of that stuff, and the stuff that you did has actually helped our group grow. And like you said, we're coming up on 400.
Yeah, 400.
Pause.
I don't know, man. You coughing, Ferd. I don't know what's going on over there. Man, you got that kung flu?
Why?
No, okay.
Let's end the show. let's end on that.
Man. Look,
right,
next week,
All right,
man.
guys.
See y'all, man. It's all good, man. Peace out.
Later.
See ya.